So Nochlin mentions sort of a, oh my God, it's raining again. Good God. Um, a artist who sort of escapes these constructs and able sort of to make a name for herself. Um, to some extent, which is Rosa Bonheur. And you may have heard of her before, if you studied modern art before. She was a very famous female painter at this time in the 1800s, mid 1800s. And her father was a drawing master, and he did encourage her to work. He does abandon his family for a while to join a group called the Saint Simeons, who believe in some kind of female messiah or something. Nochlin like briefs it, and I'm like, I don't. It's some sort of extensively strange. He kind of joins this like weird religious group for a short amount of time. And when his wife dies of tuberculosis, he has to come back and raise his children. Now, whether or not he was sort of a great influence on Bonheur is hard to know. She did stay at home and live with him. But he was an artist, and thus she did become an artist as well. So that seems to have some connection, theoretically. She did also have a great family. This is her siblings, and I believe like her, one of them is like either her father or brother-in-law or sister-in-law. But her family did encourage her in her art as well. Beyond just her father. But she is able to create these really masterful pieces of sort of livestock images that were really popular at the time in the 1850s. She was able to sort of capture the individuality, even the soul of each of the animal subjects that kind of coincided with bourgeoisie taste at the time, and thus she becomes kind of famous in her own right at the time, and is able to become a very popular artist that people really want to buy. However, she was starting to receive some harassment in public for painting as a woman, and thus she does receive permission from the police to dress like a man. And she said it was always because of her profession. So, for example, in the horse fair, she had to go and go to these like horse markets and view these events to be able to paint something like the horse fair. And so she had to dress in men's clothing because otherwise it distracted from her work. And so she was given permission to dress in pants by the police at the time. She was only one in about 12 women who were allowed to wear trousers in the 1850s, which is pretty crazy. Here are some of her sketches from the horse fair as well. So she was able to wear pants to kind of disguise herself as a man and not bring attention to her gender, so that she was able to take these drawings as a woman and a female artist. She also did not marry and had a platonic union, I believe, which Nochlin states, with her fellow woman artist Nathalie Micus, who evidently provided her with the companionship and emotional warmth which she needed. And if you have any intuition about it like I do, and it seems to be carried out with other people, was that Rosa Bonheur was probably gay. It seems that her and Micus had a sexual relationship. It was never talked about in the 1850s, obviously, because that would not have been something that would have been accepted. And so there seems to be the idea that it is likely that Bonheur was gay, and Micus and her were romantic partners, in fact. And this kind of carries out through art history, and I don't think Nochlin really even steps on it, right? Saying platonic union, right? Which is most likely not true. I discovered as of recently that Rosa Bonheur had a doll that was made after her here on the left, which was located at the Worthington Historical Society Doll Museum now today. But because she was so popular, they made a doll of her that little girls could play with, which eventually leads, maybe creepily, to her second wife. So Micus dies, and this woman, Anna Klumpke, who is on the left and painted this image of Rosa Bonheur on the right, played with this doll as a child, and they actually fall in love and get married, quote unquote, possibly, as the rumors go. And so they live together for an amount of time. And so here is Rosa Bonheur and Anna Klumpke 1 year before Bonheur died in 99. It seems to be kind of acknowledged now that they were all in fact sort of queer women and queer women painters, because of this sort of dialogue between these three women and what had occurred, and the fact that Bonheur didn't ever marry anybody, didn't want to quote unquote give away her sort of sexual freedom, believing that it would sacrifice her independence. I don't know why I just talk like that. Too many young girls let themselves be led to the altar like lambs to the sacrifice, she maintained, which is pretty dark. But all three of them are buried together, Micah, Bonheur, and Klumpke. So there's very much the sense that Bonheur didn't do these things because she was gay. But regardless, Bonheur is able to gain this sort of fame and power by not engaging in the social institutions that existed at the time. Nochlin does kind of cite this really strange moment where Bonheur is being interviewed and talked to about her accolades, and someone asks her about her wearing pants. And she kind of defends herself, saying, oh, well, she's still feminine. She can put on a skirt right now. It makes you uncomfortable. And Nochlin states that this world-renowned artist should feel compelled late in life to justify and qualify her perfectly reasonable assumption of masculine ways for any reason whatsoever, and to feel compelled to attack her less modest trouser-wearing sisters at the same time. Sort of saying that women who wear pants for social reasons are sort of silly, in order to satisfy the demands of her own conscience and perpetually write the people who supported her and bought her paintings, that she had to continue to lie, or not even lie, but defend how feminine she was, right? So that people wouldn't think that she was trying to be this sort of ludicrous gay woman, right, wearing pants and painting livestock or whatever, right? She had to defend her femininity because otherwise she would not have been accepted into the artistic community. And that's insane, right? She even says how her partner, Natalie, laughs at how silly the skirts are, right, to be walking around and whatever, or how silly the pants are, that is. But this is all part of this dialogue, right, that she has to keep up these ideas. Otherwise, she's going to be rejected by this artistic community that has shockingly supported her, right, and made her famous. And so while she's this famous artist, and Nochlin describes her as this great example of a woman who thwarted social institutions, she's still very much part of this oppression on women, bringing them down, reminding them that they still have to be feminine or be one way or another, right?